Good morning, good morning. So there's an old adage that I'm sure you've all heard. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And today I want to talk to you about your interview and your interview preparation. The You've got the interview. You've you've shone up your CV, you've got out to the jobs that you really want to get out to, and you've been invited in for one of those jobs for the interview. Now what? How do you maximize your chances of getting through that interview to a job offer? What can you do to ensure you get the maximum chance of success? And there's quite a lot, really. And the very first thing comes down to your CV. When you wrote your CV, if you followed the Maverick path and created an achievements-based CV, you've actually created the narrative already for what the interview or what a lot of the interview is going to be. You see, most hiring managers um, want want content to actually ask you, and so therefore they look to your CV as the first source of that content. Quite often you'll get a question that comes along the lines of talk me through your CV. But that's a bit lame, really, and it's also very lazy. Talk me through your CV means have a chat and let's see if I can pick up on some of that and delve deeper. Whereas if you've created an achievement based CV, something that talks about what you have achieved and specifically that is relevant to the interview, then that's what the hiring manager is going to pick up from almost immediately. They'll have their own questions as well. They'll have questions which are they like to ask. Probably mostly because the questions that they were asked when they were interviewed. You'd be surprised how many people do not know how to conduct an interview effectively. So, in coming out with your achievements based CV, you've actually given them a lot of help in getting to the bottom of what you can do for them in their organization and the value that you can add. So, in creating that CV in the first place, you have given yourself the best chance of controlling what the narrative of the interview will be. So, the clue here is you've given them the achievements, now be prepared. So, when in creating those achievements, you created stories. Um, Now, obviously, obviously, if you've not gone through our ultimate CV guide, you won't know much about those stories at this point in time. But let me tell you this: that in order to create the achievements within your CV, you've looked at what you've achieved and you've created stories around those achievements. And that's really the crux of this. In creating those stories, you are prepared and you're continuing, and by updating yourself on those stories, revising those stories, refreshing them in your mind, you are preparing for how you're going to answer the questions. And the simple mechanism for doing this, and we can tell you an awful lot more about this if you don't know about it already, is using a STAR presentation: situation, task, accomplishment, result. The situation, this is the situation that we found ourselves in. Let's say it's something along the lines of our client was struggling with a particular issue, a particular problem. We that was affecting the way that the service that we were providing them was delivering. The task we had to do was to implement a certain strategy within, etc., etc. So, and how we did it was we did this, we did that, we did the other, and the result was tickety boo with the client, and he gave us a lot more business. It's a story that takes you from where the problem was perceived through the mechanism by which you solved that problem, and then resulting in an increase to the bottom line, a saving of money, a creation of, a saving of time, or saving the reputation of your business. It's that sort of thing. Um, and in our CV mastery guide, sorry, in our ultimate CV guide, we tell you exactly how to do that. And you, excuse me, and that's available to you on our website. The second thing that you can do in preparation, so once you've got your stories sorted, your star presentation is there. You've led with the achievements from your CV. You've led into those stories. The next thing is to consider what other questions are going to be asked and to be prepared for them. So let's think about that for a minute. Most interviewers will have will have a set of questions that they like to ask. What's your greatest strength? What's your greatest weakness? Tell me why you're interested in our organization. What is it that's attracted you to this job? Etc. etc. Now, here's a tip. If you do a bit of Googling of common interview questions, you're going to get a load of these come up. And what I would advise, and this is quite easy to do, it takes no time at all, is just to look through those questions and see what people commonly say. So these advisors who are giving you the answers to these questions, what are they commonly telling you? So what we want to do here is we want to pick up on what are the best ways to answer these questions. Now, I can tell you what my advice is for any particular question, and I will. If you actually buy into my interview prep solution, I will give you plenty of guidance on what that is. But for you to do this yourself, have a bit of a Google, but don't take the first one on merit. Have a look for several and see what people say about it. For example, what's my greatest strength? What's my greatest weakness? They always come as a pair. There's a lack of originality there, I'm afraid. So a lot of people will tell you, and I used to think this, and I don't anymore, but a lot of people tell you, yes, your greatest strength is what you perceive your greatest strength to be. And yeah, we'll stick with that. But your greatest weakness should just be a strength in disguise. But no, it shouldn't be. It should be what you perceive as something that really needs improving, because what you're trying to do in that instance is you're trying to demonstrate to the person that's interviewing you that you can conduct self-analysis and improve. And that's an important facet of what you want to convey across within an interview. I understand myself, my own weaknesses, and I can improve on them. I can analyze myself, if you see what I mean. That's the objective here is to get across, not that you're weak, that there's a weakness, but there's you know about the weakness, and this is what you're doing about it, and this is how you intend improving it. It's so the as much as I think asking those questions in the first place is probably a little bit lazy from the interviewer because he's just picked out a pool of questions, in actual fact, the answer can be very constructive for you. Why do you want to work here? I've always thought that question's a bit a bit presumptuous. Why do I want to work there? No, I don't know why I want to work there. Tell me why I want to work there. What is it about your organisation that should really attract me? And you do not, and that's a serious answer, by the way. The you do not need their job. That's an important thing to take into the interview. You would like to know more about it. You want to know if you want that job. You want to learn if it's the right job for you, whilst also demonstrating why you are the right candidate for that job. So there's a give and a take in an interview situation. Unfortunately, a lot of hiring managers don't see it that way. Oh, surely you want to work for us because that's the mindset. But no, that you've got to convey across to them that whilst you're really interested to know much more about it, and this is what has attracted you to the organization so far, you really want to know more about the benefits of working for that organization. a question, because you should be prepared for questions yourself. Why do you work at the organization? What's kept you there? What do you enjoy about working it? Where's the challenge, etc., etc. So the point I'm making here is that there, when it comes to that type of question, and it is a type, when it comes to the type of question of why do you want this job, the answer to that is quite straightforward. I want to know why I want that job. This is what I've seen that's attracted me so far. You've got to give that. This is what I've seen that's attracted me to your job so far. I'd like to know more. I'd like to know more about your organization. I want to know more about the benefits of working for your company. I want to know something about the culture of your organization. Is it a great place to work? How do other people feel? Can I speak to other people in your organization about what it's like to work there? Those sorts of things. Very important, that you show a genuine interest in who they are and what they're about as an organization, as well as the team. How do you manage your team? What's the culture of the team? Is there what's the how do people get on with each other? That sort of thing. This shows an intent and an interest in the team, the organization, etc., rather than just a passive, well, I want to work there because I need a job. Well, you would never say it quite like that, but that's often what's conveyed across to people. Oh, I want a job, mate. I've got to earn money. Your job's the only one on time. No, I'm sure you get the drift here. That you've got to show interest, intent. You've got to show enthusiasm, but you've got to be, you're asking them to sell to you as well. And that's very important, that you ask them to sell to you. So the final point, for today, it's not really the final point at all, because there's however many interview questions, I don't know. What I didn't talk about in preparing for those preset questions is the competency-based question. That's a subject on its own. I might do a whole one of these sessions just on competency-based questions, because it's a scary subject that people don't, tell me a time when you did this. I don't know. How do you prepare for questions like that? We will come back to that. But the next point I wanted to raise today, is your research. And what a lot of people do in research is they go and have a quick look at the website. They may go to the hiring manager's profile page, and then they come along and think they've got it all, and they start getting asked questions about the company, etc., and they're found to be light. The preparation for the interview, in terms of understanding the organization, understanding as much as you can about the team, know when the hiring manager, the guy you're speaking to, the girl you're speaking to, when did they arrive at the organization? How long have they been there? Where was their previous company? As I suggested earlier, what is it that's attracted them to this organization? Take an interest in them. What have they published anything? Is there anything online? Is there anything they're saying about themselves? Something that you can engage with them to show that you've got an interest. What's the latest news item about the company? What are they saying about themselves? What's their biggest success to date? What's their most recent success to date? Who's the CEO? How long's the CEO been there? What do they say about their culture? What do they say about their values, etc., etc.? Understanding what the organization is about, the character, the the character of the company, the culture of the company. Uh, when were they established? How successful are they? Last year's revenues, they're all available to you. What's their year-on-year growth? That's information that you can do a little bit of research on, easy peasy, and it shows that you've got an interest. Those last 2 points, the first point about preparing the if you like, the technical side of it, the side that's you relevant to the job, but those other two bits about being prepared for their general interview questions and being interested in the people that you're talking to, and being enthusiastic about the job, but wanting to be sold to, and the idea of having researched in quite a bit of depth, those make a big difference in an interview. They are the difference between the person that gets the job and the person that doesn't get the job. They are the difference between success and coming second. And when I hear people tell me how many times they come second, when I dig into the um, their preparation for the interview, I find that this is where a lot of it happens. The guys that's got the job, they spent time, they've looked into the company, they've shown interest, they've been enthusiastic, uh, but they've wanted to be sold to, and those are things that you need to take with you into your interview. So, careers mastery. The excuse me, the careers mastery revolution. We have an interview prep guide for you, as you can see on the screen at the moment. The interview prep guide, and there's a link for it, but you'll also find the link in the description. Basically, it's going to say pretty much what I've just said, but it's useful for you to have with you so that when you go into an interview, you can have a look into that and make sure that you've thought through what you're going to say, how you're going to answer those tricky questions, how you're going to be prepared for yourself, etc., etc. So get our interview prep guide. If you want a more consultative approach, we also offer an interview prep service. Why don't you contact me on from Careers Matter and ask me about that? You won't find it. You won't find the interview prep on my website. Contact me directly. You will find on my website. You will find a link to set up a 20-minute call with me. Come and talk to me about interview prep, and I can tell you what we can offer you. This is James Foster. This is the Career Mastery Revolution, and I will speak to you again on Thursday.